You've been lied to, told that silence is emptiness, that being alone means you're broken. But you feel it, don't you? Deep down, something stirs in the quiet, a raw, ancient force. Unfiltered, undeniable. The world fears that stillness, because when everything stops, you're forced to face yourself. No distractions, no excuses, just the truth staring back at you. But here's what they never told you. That truth, that darkness, that silence, is the birthplace of your power. Close your eyes. You're standing in a dim room. No sound, no movement, only breath. You can hear your heartbeat. You can feel the weight of your thoughts. And that's where it begins. Most people run from this space. They panic in silence. They cling to noise like it's oxygen. Scrolling, talking, consuming. But you're going to walk straight into the stillness. Because only those who face the void can bend it to their will. Imagine a man who trains in isolation. No praise, no spotlight, just sweat, pain, and relentless repetition. What happens to him? He becomes sharp, precise, unbreakable. You want strength? Stop fearing silence. You want mastery? Stop needing company. Solitude is not loneliness. It's focus. It's clarity. It's freedom from the noise of weak minds. And the stillness. You'll hear it. The weak voice begging for comfort. The distractions tempting you back. The doubts loud and pathetic. But listen closely. There's another voice. Low, steady. It whispers, keep going. That's your power speaking. That's who you really are. The question is, which voice will you feed? Visualize yourself walking a narrow path in the dark, storms around you. But you keep walking. Why? Because you trust the direction. Because the fire inside is brighter than the chaos outside. That's what happens in solitude. You stop being a puppet. You become the hand pulling the strings. Detachment is misunderstood. It's not apathy. It's control. Detachment is the warrior's stance. You feel, but you are not ruled by those feelings. You observe, but do not absorb. People will call you cold, distant, but they don't understand what you're building. They don't see the war behind your eyes. They don't know the discipline it takes to stand calm in the middle of fire. Picture a samurai, sharpening his blade. He's not smiling. He's not distracted. He's focused. Because one wrong move ends everything. That's how you must approach your life. With lethal calm, with surgical focus. You don't flinch. You don't explain. You just move. Silently. Decisively. Unstoppably. They told you to be nice. To be agreeable. To be liked. But power doesn't beg for approval. It commands respect. True strength is silent. It doesn't need to prove itself. It's felt. Unspoken, undeniable. You want peace? Then become dangerous first. Because only the man who's capable of destruction can choose restraint from a place of strength. Everyone else is just afraid. Afraid of conflict. Afraid of judgment. Afraid of themselves. Picture yourself as a predator. Not chasing. Not boasting. Just watching. Waiting. Knowing. That's what makes you dangerous. The silence behind your eyes. The fire behind your stillness. Every time you reach for your phone. Every time you check who's watching, every time you wait for someone to tell you you're enough, you give away your power. Stop outsourcing your worth. They can't validate what they don't understand, and they don't understand you. They were never meant to. You're building something they can't see. You're cultivating silence into strength. You're becoming the weapon, and weapons don't explain themselves. They act docile the next time. You're alone. Don't fill the space. Feel it. Command it. Turn the emptiness into focus. Turn the quiet into discipline. Turn the solitude into strategy. Ask yourself, who am I when no one is watching? Who am I when no one claps? Who am I when the room is silent? Because that version of you, that raw, stripped down version, that's the real you. Everything else is theater, costume, distraction. If that real version is weak, good, because now you know what to build. If he's afraid, train him. If he's undisciplined, forge him. This is your laboratory. This is your battlefield. This is where you stop pretending and start becoming. Imagine training every day in the dark. No audience, no results yet, just faith. Most people quit in that space. They need evidence. They need applause. They need permission, but not you. Because your mission doesn't require an audience. Your fire doesn't need fuel from outside. It burns from within. This is where legends are made, in the hours no one sees. In the sacrifices no one understands, in a silence that would break most men. But you thrive in it, because the void is no longer your enemy. It's your crucible. It's your forge. Every time you choose silence over noise, discipline over chaos, detachment over validation, you win. It won't feel like it at first. It'll feel like loss, like isolation, like emptiness. But that's just the old self dying. And death always feels like suffering to the part of you that still clings to comfort. Let it die. Let it burn. The man you were can't follow you where you're going. Let them misunderstand you. Let them walk away. Let them call your silence strange. You are not here to be understood. You are here to rise. There is a level of focus that looks like madness, a level of calm that feels like danger, a level of detachment that triggers fear in those who've never faced themselves. They'll sense it in you. They'll feel your silence before you speak. Your presence will become louder than their noise. That's when you know you've tapped into something real, something ancient, something unshakable. The void didn't destroy you. It revealed you. You didn't go silent because you were broken. You went silent because you were building. So what do you do now? You stay in the silence. You train in the solitude. You listen to the whisper beneath the doubt. And every day, you sharpen the blade. You hold your standard. You walk alone. Because true power isn't found in comfort. It's found in the fire you're willing to walk through when no one's watching. And in that fire, in that void, you don't just survive. You rise. You didn't just endure it. You meet at your temple. Now, the transformation begins, not in noise, not in recognition, but in the still fire that burns within you. You're no longer the same. The void has stripped you of weakness. What remains is real, unfiltered, untouchable. Now comes the ascent. Imagine a mountain rising in slow motion, solid, immovable, silent. Storms crash against it, winds scream over it, but it remains. That's who you become when you stop chasing motion and embody stillness. Most people confuse movement with progress. They run in circles. They talk endlessly. They seek attention as if being seen means being valuable. But a man who knows himself doesn't need to be seen. He sees everything, everyone, and says nothing. He listens to what others reveal when they think he's silent. He learns while they boast. He sharpens while they relax. That's the quiet edge. That's what builds empires in the shadows. Discipline is your religion now, not the kind that comes and goes when motivation fades. No, the kind that bleeds into your bones, that rewires your instincts, that builds a fortress around your focus. Imagine a monk in the mountains, waking before the sun, training in bitter cold, speaking to no one for weeks. Why? Because power demands sacrifice. Because greatness costs more than most are willing to pay. Every rep, every fast, every refusal to be average is a ritual. This isn't about looking strong. It's about becoming unbreakable. When no one's watching, you don't rise by chance. You rise by decision. And that decision must be made every single day. When you wake up and feel nothing, you rise anyway. When the voice in your head screams, quit, you go anyway. Because power isn't loud. It's quiet repetition. It's unseen effort. It's invisible war. The greatest warriors don't shout. They endure. They bleed in silence so they can conquer in silence. Picture a man alone in the dark, doing push-ups until his arms tremble. Not because anyone will see it, but because he knows that's what's required. The weak want sympathy. The strong want silence. When you stop telling your story to gain pity, you start rewriting it with power. Pain is a teacher, but only if you listen, not whine, not complain. Listen. What is it showing you? Where is it pointing you? You've been through hell. Good. That's where real men are forged. The fire wasn't meant to consume you. It was meant to burn away everything that was never real. So now, you're left with steel. You're not who you were. And that's terrifying to people who still are. They want the old you. The agreeable one. The soft one. The predictable one. But that man is gone. Buried in the silence. Drowned in the discipline. You don't owe them softness. You don't owe them your weakness. Let them call you heartless. Let them say you've changed. Because you have. And that change was earned. In pain, in darkness, in solitude. You're no longer here to be liked. You're here to dominate your path. Whether they watch or not, whether they cheer or not, there is a storm inside you now, calm, but deadly. You walk slower, talk less, see more, react never, because real power doesn't perform. It radiates. The man who truly owns himself doesn't. need to prove anything. He just is. And that is enough to shake the room. Picture yourself walking into a crowd, not needing anything, not wanting anything, just observing. You are not looking to be chosen. You have already chosen yourself, and that changes everything. You've entered the second level of solitude, not the absence of people, but the absence of dependency. You no longer crave the noise, the validation, the opinion. Now, silence feels like home, because in it, you remember who you are, and who you're becoming. It's not lonely. It's clean. It's precise. It's the difference between a blade and a club. Most swing wildly, hoping to be noticed. You strike once, because you waited, because you watched, because you knew. You've killed distraction. Now, kill hesitation. You don't need more time. You don't need more certainty. You need movement. Deliberate, focused, ruthless. Stop waiting to feel ready. That feeling won't come. Start anyway. Move anyway. Bleed anyway. Greatness comes to the man who moves while afraid, who acts without applause, who executes while tired. There's no mystery, just movement and silence and discipline. Those are your weapons now. Sharpen them daily. Embrace being misunderstood. They'll say you're arrogant because you no longer explain. They'll say you're cold because you no longer react. They'll say you're obsessed because you no longer drift. Good, let them. Because every time they misunderstand you, it confirms that you're no longer one of them. You've separated, and in that separation, you've gained something they'll never touch. Freedom. Not freedom to do anything. Freedom from needing anything. From the world. From the crowd. From the illusion. This is the path of the few. The chosen. The forged. There is no map. No guidebook. No applause. Only fire. Only silence. Only you. But if you stay on it, if you keep walking, if you master the void within you, become something rare, a force, a standard, a presence that cannot be ignored. And when the world finally sees you, they won't understand how you did it, because they never saw you train, they never saw you break, they never saw you rebuild. But that's okay. They were never meant to, because true power is always built in the dark. You've stepped beyond what most will ever understand. Where others broke, you rebuilt. Where others begged for light, you learn to see in the dark. This is the realm of mastery, not skill, not talent, but self. Now comes the part they never speak of, the price of becoming unshakable. The deeper you go, the quieter it gets, not just around you, but inside you. No more arguments with yourself, no more seeking outside confirmation, only intention, only action. The world outside still moves in chaos, but your world, it's still controlled. Deliberate, you become the eye of the storm. Picture a battlefield. Screams, smoke, fire, and in the center, one warrior walking calmly, unafraid, unmoved. That's you now. That's presence. You're no longer ruled by emotion, not because you don't feel, but because you've mastered the gap between impulse and response. That gap is your throne. They try to provoke you, disrespect you, ignore you, but they don't realize you're not here to react. You're here to reign. Power doesn't flinch. It doesn't defend itself. It decides. So when they try to pull you into their drama, you don't answer. You just rise higher. That's the discipline of detachment, the power of not responding. You now understand what real control is. It's not about controlling others. It's about controlling yourself when everything around you demands that you don single quotes T. Control your mind when fear enters. Control your tongue when anger burns. Control your pace when the world races. Most people are slaves to what they feel in the moment. You've turned your emotions into tools. You don't run from fear. You use it as fuel. You don't deny pain. You mine it for strength. This isn't suppression. It's alchemy. There is a kind of pain that doesn't scream. It just sits inside you and reshapes everything. You've known that pain. You didn't run. You faced it. And because of that, it became your ally. The world avoids pain. It medicates, escapes, distracts. But you stare into it and let it teach you. What did it teach you? That nothing outside of you can truly hurt you if you've already faced the war within. That's invincibility, not armor. Awareness. You become your own source now. Your own energy. Your own standard. Your own mirror. And because of that, you are free. Free from waiting. Free from hoping. Free from begging. Picture a flame that no wind can put out. That's your discipline. That's your focus. Others will come and go. They'll drift with trends. They'll break under pressure. But you remain. Because you didn't build your power on the applause of others. You built it in silence, in solitude, in truth. Understand this. They will test you. The more you grow, the more they'll try to bring you down. They'll bait you, mock you, mislabel you. Stay still. That's not weakness. That's dominance. You don't argue with noise. You outlasted Dot because arguing with fools is giving them power. And you don't get power. You take it through results, through consistency, through presence. Let them talk. Let them doubt. You just keep building. Quietly, ruthlessly, you now walk with something sacred. A mission, not a goal. A purpose that transcends comfort, distraction, and time. You're not here to play. You're here to conquer yourself. That purpose must be protected with your energy, with your choices, with your silence. Purpose is fragile at first, like a fire in the wind. It needs shelter. It needs obsession. And you've chosen obsession over approval, vision over validation, silence over noise. That is what makes you different. That is what makes you dangerous. The game has changed now. You're no longer reacting. You're orchestrating. Others chase opportunity. You create it. Others seek attention. You command presence. This is the level where movement is minimal, but impact is massive. A glance, a word, a decision, and everything shifts. That's what silence does. It concentrates power. You're no longer just in control of yourself. You influence rooms by entering them. Not because you want to be noticed, but because you become undeniable. Your energy is now your currency, and you've learned not to spend it freely. You don't explain yourself to those who won't listen. You don't argue with those who can't understand. You don't prove yourself to those who never earn access. That restraint, that's silence, that's power. Because anyone can talk, anyone can react. Few can observe and choose to say nothing. You know the cost of leaking energy to the wrong people. So you protect your presence like a king protects his kingdom. Every no you say is another wall built around your empire. Now you understand what the void really is. It was never empty. It was full of lessons, of truths, of power, but only for the man willing to sit in it, without running, without numbing, without complaining. The void is not punishment. It's preparation. It strips you, reveals you, builds. You. And when you emerge, you are no longer one of them. You are forged. You are focused. You are free. You no longer belong to the world you left behind. You've crossed a line that few even see, a line between noise and knowing, between reaction and command. Now, you don't move to survive. You move to shape. You don't walk to be seen. You walk to remind the world that something solid still exists. You are the anchor in the drift, the weight in the chaos, the silence in the scream. There is a presence that cannot be faked. It doesn't come from titles or followers or validation. It comes from facing yourself alone, without distraction, without applause. It's in your posture, your eyes, your tone. When you've sat with your own darkness and refused to flinch, you carry something that no school, no book, no crowd can give you. It's not arrogance. It's certainty, and that certainty is rare. It terrifies those who have none. You've become immune to cheap attention. Likes don't move you. Opinions don't shape you. You've tasted something deeper, more real, substance, precision, alignment. You no longer seek to be impressive. You seek to be solid, to be exact. And that means your words are fewer, your movements slower, your presence sharper. You've left the theater of life and entered the forge. Everything you do now is for the mission. Not applause, not sympathy, just progress, measured, earned, undeniable. You've outgrown distraction, not because it's gone, but because it's obvious. You see through it. You feel its pull, and you say no. Not because you have to, but because you choose to. You look at your phone, and instead of being consumed, you put it down. You feel the craving and let it pass. That's power. That's detachment. That's mastery. Not of the world, of yourself. And that mastery, it compounds. Each decision not to escape builds another layer of strength. Each refusal to indulge sends a message to your mind. We don't bow. We build. Now your standards rule your life. Not moods, not trends, not urgency. Standards. And standards, once chosen, are law. You don't wait for the perfect time. You show up. You execute. Even when you're tired, especially when you're tired. Because you've learned something most men never will. Discipline is freedom. Not the freedom to do what you want, The freedom from being ruled by weakness, by desire, by emotion. You are no longer a man chasing comfort. You are a man forged in fire. And fire respects only one thing, consistency. You've also become dangerous, but in a way the world doesn't. Recognize, not loud, not violent, still, precise. You and BOTHERED dangerous because you can walk away from people, from comfort, from anything that compromises your standard. You don't need to shout. Your silence says everything. You don't need to fight. Your presence ends conflict before it starts. Because when a man has mastered his mind, he becomes unpredictable, and unpredictability is power. You've learned the secret to control. It's not about dominating others. It's about mastering choice. The choice to wait, the choice to speak or stay silent, the choice to move when everyone else is frozen. That space between trigger and reaction is where power lives. And now you live there. That's your domain. That's your edge. The man who can pause while others panic owns the moment. And the man who owns the moment shapes reality. You've changed your relationship with time. It's no longer an enemy, no longer something to kill or waste. Time is your ally, because you don't just feel it, you focus it. Every hour has a weight, every minute a meaning. While others scroll, you study. While others talk, you train. While others drift, you drive. You are no longer part of the game they're playing. You're building a different scoreboard, invisible to most, unshakable to all. And now, you're becoming what others will never dare become, fully accountable. No excuses, no blame, no waiting. If you fail, it's yours. If you rise, it's yours. You own everything. And in that ownership is unlimited power, because a man who owns his losses learns from them, and a man who learns from them can't be stopped. Accountability is rare because it's brutal, but it's the only path to real evolution. You've chosen it, and that choice will separate you forever. Now you've stopped chasing peace. You've become it. Not the kind sold by self-help books, not the kind marketed by gurus, the kind forged in discipline, in solitude, in truth. It's not soft. It's not passive. It's potent, still, sharp, ready. Others will ask how you stay so calm. You won't explain. You'll simply smile, because they wouldn't understand the cost. Peace, real peace, is the reward for the man who has conquered himself. And now, you realize everything you were looking for, you already had. It was buried under noise, under fear, under addiction to comfort. But through the void, through the silence, through the pain you remembered, you rebuilt, you returned. And now, there is no going back, because the man you become cannot fit into the life that once caged him. You're not just alive. You are aware. You are awake. You are armed with truth, with discipline, with fire. You've crossed the wasteland. You've passed through silence, through pain, through solitude so deep it shattered your old self. And now you stand on the other side, not broken, not bitter, but carved, precise, solid. You didn't just survive the void. You claimed it. You made it yours. Picture this. You're standing at the edge of a cliff, and below you is everything you've ever feared: loneliness, rejection, failure, loss. And still, you step forward. Why? Because the man you become doesn't run anymore. He confronts. He commands. He conquers. This is what it means to become your own foundation. To stop building your identity on external things and to build it on something that cannot be taken. The world will try to call you back to the noise, to the distractions, to the fake smiles and shallow comfort. It will offer you soft lies in exchange for your hard truth. But you no longer belong to that world. You walk among them, but you are not one of them. You see it clearly. You hear what others ignore. You feel the weight of each moment, because you no longer numb yourself to it. You are not cold. You are alive, fully, brutally, unapologetic ally. This path you've chosen, it's not easy. It's not glamorous, but it's real. There are no shortcuts here, no hacks, no secrets, just work, just silence, just truth. And in that truth, you become rare, not because you're special, but because you endured what most refuse to face. You've suffered with intention, disciplined your chaos, and made something sacred from the pain. That makes you unshakable, not perfect, but permanent. Your mind is now a weapon, not a cage, not a chaos machine. It doesn't control you. You control it. You direct your thoughts like a general moves armies. You choose where your attention goes. You choose what has access to your energy. You don't react. You respond. You don't beg. You move. This is the art of command, not of others, of self, because the man who controls himself doesn't need to control anyone else. He leads by existing. He influences by being. You become the quiet in the noise, the eye in the storm, the calm in the war, and people feel it. They sense it. They may not understand you. They may avoid you or fear you, but they'll never forget you, because in a world full of chaos, a man who is still is unforgettable. You don't need to say much. You don't need to prove anything. Your energy says everything. You've stopped being a seeker and started being a source. Legacy. That's the word now. Not fame, not likes, not trends. Legacy. Impact without noise, presence without performance, and it starts with what you do when no one sees. Your morning ritual, your evening reflection, your word, your thoughts, your standard. These small things are the foundation of your empire, invisible to the world, but everything to you. Brick by brick, you've built a life that cannot be shaken. That is legacy. You've also learned to walk alone, not with resentment, but with reverence. Solitude is no longer punishment. It's privilege. When you walk alone, you see more. You feel more. You grow faster. The path of the few is not crowded, but it is sacred. And now, you guard that path. You protect it, because the world will try to pull you back, to lower you, to dilute you. But you didn't come this far to be average again. Now, you build men, not through noise, but through example. Your silence becomes instruction. Your presence becomes permission for others to rise. Not everyone will follow. Not everyone will listen, but a few will, and that is enough, because the man who saves himself creates a map for others to escape to, not with words, but with standards. You are the proof that it's possible to go into the fire and come out forged, and here, at the end of the void, you realize there is no end. Because mastery has no final form, no rival, no applause, only deeper layers, only higher demands, only sharper precision. But now, you're ready for that, because you're no longer building from insecurity, or fear, or desperation. You're building from truth, from vision, from alignment. This is no longer about becoming. It's about embodying. So here you are, standing in silence, but filled with fire. No longer afraid, no longer waiting, no longer reaching. You are. That's it. That's everything. You've embraced the void, and in it, you found yourself, not the version they gave you, not the one shaped by weakness or approval, the real one, the one who commands time, who shapes space, who bends reality through will. You have become what few ever do, a man who does not flinch, a man who does not follow, a man who does not beg. You become unshakable. Now go and walk like it.